Look alive now. You guys like the monkeys?
Good morning and welcome to the garden.
My dear mother, I wish you well. I can't stand to see you cry, so I hide this distant hand, and I wipe the tears from my eyes. My sweet brother, will I see you again? There's so many things I long to say. Life has dealt you a bad hand, and all I can do is pray into not say G, not say Jude. Not say G, not say Jude. My dear mother, I can see you now, watching from that dock on the lake. I wish I could give you back all the things your life could take. My dear brother, is there some other way? Surely you deserve a chance. And if there was a way I could hold you up, and you would join us in that dance, you can run, not say G, not say Jude. You can run, not say G, not say J. Oh, 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 my sweet sister, you haunt me still. I see you all dressed in red. I wish I could turn back time and take back all those things I said. You turn not say G, not say Jude. Not say G, not say
Do you know what that means? Do you know what that means? Tell us, Doran, what that means. Unless you, it's too hard.
I looked it up, and of course I forget now.
It's all right. It's all right. It is what?
I think it's
Healing together. Phenomenal. Thank you all. Good morning. Good to see you all today on this Sunday before Indigenous Day. Instead of Columbus Day, it's Indigenous Peoples Day, and we're glad that you're here. A couple of things. I'm just going to handle some PSAs this morning. The first is, may I have that drum roll, please? Very, very exciting. Next weekend, all church meeting. Oh, yeah. I know. You'll be there. It's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. The other thing I need to highlight, which is not in our programs, is the fact that All Saints service will be on November 3rd this year. And unless you want a complete photo montage of my dad on All Saints Day, you'll turn in some photos. So what we do is we honor those who have gone before us in a photo montage, and we remember them on All Saints Day, the reminder, indeed, that when we leave here, life is not over, but indeed, we miss those people in the physical sense, but celebrate them in a spiritual sense. So this year, we want to encourage all of you to send those pictures in, and we'll include them in our All Saints photo montage video celebration. Also want to note that we are praying for all those in Florida as well as North Carolina. It has been a devastating fall in that part of the country. And I just this morning put on the website UMCOR, which is the United Methodist Committee on Relief. They do amazing work. They're collecting buckets, and I know they're collecting them at St. Luke's if you would like to participate in that way. And I know that they're also collecting funds as well. So just want to encourage you to be part of that effort in prayer, in presence. And I don't know if you have watched the reels that are coming up on Facebook and different things. And it's just devastating, I think, for some folks. So let's keep folks in our prayers. And let's lighten it up, shall we, Leanne? I just love people see you and they go, woohoo!
Yay! Yeah, I was without power for 4 days and thought I was going to die.
Oh.
I can't even imagine.
I can't either. Yeah.
So anyway, well, welcome. Guess what? Today we're going to learn about Zacchaeus. He was a wee little man.
And a wee little man was he.
A wee little man was he. And he climbed up in a sycamore tree for the Lord he wanted to see. And as the Savior walked that way, he looked up in that tree and he said,
Zacchaeus, come down here.
Are you kidding me?
I'm going
Try
to
this again. Zacchaeus, you come down. For I'm coming to your house today. Jesus just invited himself.
He did.
Love that. Not going to tell him no. But why was that such a big deal? Well, Zacchaeus was the chief of all the taxpayers. Or tax collectors, not payers, collectors. All the tax collectors. Which is the lowest of the low. But Jesus welcomed him. And Zacchaeus said, look, God, Jesus, Holy Spirit, remember we talked about that last weekend? Jesus, I will give half of my wealth to the poor. And I will pay anyone double that I have cheated. And Jesus said, you are forgiven. So it doesn't matter what we do. Jesus will always forgive us. So today we're going to learn a little bit about Zacchaeus. A wee little man was he in room 216. Awesome. And Kara is here. Woohoo! She's dressed up as a cat today. And I think I took away at least 4 of her 9 lives when I screamed her name halfway through the church when I saw her and said, where have you been? She was frozen. So anyway, so at least 3 of her 9 lives are gone. Sorry, Mom. All right. Whoopsie.
And no pressure, Zapanta Cruz family, but no one sits at that table. On the days that you're not here, no pressure, but there's like a little tumbleweed that comes through. You are family, and I'm so happy to see you. That's all I want to say. All right. And yes, you can take a Sunday off, and I won't talk about it maybe, so that's all right. Actually, since I've been at the garden, I think I've shared with you, I've known Missy since she was in 3rd grade. I was going to say since she's been this tall, but she's been this tall since 3rd grade. It was even before then. And the girls, I've known them for many, many years. And now we share the journey of the loss of a parent. And so I'm glad you're here. All right. Today is indeed Indigenous Peoples Day. That is not easy to say, is it? Happy Indigenous Peoples Day. So we're going to dig into that a little more. But as we do so, let's find our weekly devotion. I'll read it out loud, and we'll use it to center ourselves. And I'm going to start with it and then do our words of welcome. Grandfather, look at our brokenness. We know that in all creation, only the human family has strayed from the sacred way. We know that we are the ones who are divided, and the ones who must come back together to walk the sacred way. Grandfather, Sacred One, teach us love, compassion, and honor that we may heal the earth and heal one another. Will you join me in these words of welcome? Shalom, salam, namaste, peace.
Good morning. This is a little bit of unpreparedness. Someone's been on break this week and not checking email, so good morning. I'll get my mind back. Please join me in prayer this morning. Great Spirit, whose voice I hear in the winds, and whose breath gives us life to all the world, hear me. I need your strength and wisdom. Let me walk in beauty and make my eyes ever hold the red and purple sunset. Make my hands respect the things you have made and my ears sharp to hear your voice. Make me wise so that I may understand the things that you have taught my people. Let me hear the lessons you have hidden in every leaf and rock. Help me remain calm and strong in the face of all that comes towards me. Help me find compassion without empathy overwhelming me. I seek strength, not to be greater than my brother, but to fight my greatest enemy, myself. Make me always ready to come to you with clean hands and straight eyes. So when life fades as a fading sunset, may spirit come to you without shame. Amen.
Today, I just want to highlight that we have entered into our season of Hope Grows here at the Garden. It's a fall stewardship campaign. If you've ever gone to the church, this is what we do every fall, and trying to help us be good stewards of the gifts that we will receive. I am happy to announce that $130,000 has been pledged. That is more than if I were a Baptist, I'd say, "Oh, that's God." Is this on? It's on now. Okay. That is a higher number than we have ever been at this point in our campaign. And so we thank you all for ensuring that the garden grows. I want to address something else, though. So the green leaves are pledges that have come in. The gray ones are not pledges. And for me, that's just as important as the number down there. Because if you just have a willingness to say, yes, I'm going to commit myself to this community in the year to come, that is going to make the garden grow. So if us talking about this makes you nervous about money, and I come from a family where you don't promise what you don't have and you don't know what's going ahead, I get that. Pledging is not natural for some people financially, which is okay. But you can pledge to say, yes, I'm going to plant myself here in the year to come and ask God to work in me and through me in a variety of different ways. Now, if you want to throw $5 into that or whatever, that's fine. Martha's going, really, 5? We invite you to do that. But it is just a wonderful reminder that as we share in this time now, that offering is more than a time to give a few bucks. It's that time each and every week where we give God thanks for the goodness of life. When that basket goes by you every week, thank God for everything that's good. Because I guarantee you, if you take time to count what's working and what's good, God is going to give you more of that. So this offering time is more than just hopefully getting that basket back there as fast as you can. It's more about just offering life back to God and identifying the goodness of life and giving thanks. At this time, may our prayers, our offerings, and this amazing song be shared.
Ever since the days of old, men would search for wealth untold. They dig for silver and for gold and leave the empty holes. And way down south in the Everglades, the blackwater rose and the sawgrass waves. The eagles fly and the otters play in the land of the Seminole. Blow, blow, Seminole wind, blow like you're never gonna blow again. I'm calling to you like a long lost friend, but I know who you are. Okeechobee, all the way to Micanopy, blowing across the home of the Seminoles, the alligators and the God. Progress came and took its toll, and in the name of blood control, they made their plans and they drained the land. Now the glades are running dry. And the last time I walked in the swamp, I stood upon a cypress stump and listened close. I heard the ghosts of the Osceola cry. So blow, blow, Seminole wind, blow like you're never gonna blow again. I'm calling to you like a long lost friend, but I know who you are. And blow, blow from the Okeechobee, all the way up in Micanopy, blow across the home of the Seminoles, the alligators and the God.
Okay, so this morning was one of those mornings when I woke up and I said, I don't want to go to church today. And my husband said, well, that's a problem. You're the minister. Though I have to tell you, he would say, yes, I'll cover for you. He loves preaching here. He loves all of you. I wish I could say he said, you know, no, you have to go. You're the pastor. You have to open the building. But it's interesting when you have those days, how the Spirit goes to work. I have to tell you, when I listened to you all practice this morning, I was changed. It changed my very being about being here. Because I have to tell you, I think in part I didn't want to be here because I'm just rather a little bit uncomfortable with this topic. I have to be honest. I'm just uncomfortable with it. Because the truth about all of this is there are two dates that I remember from school. One is 1776, and the other is 1492. And I wish I could say it's because I was such an amazing student. No, it's because when I was in the 5th grade, there were two plays. And the one was 1776. Yes, you are looking at Martha Washington. And then I got to tell you, the whole 1492 thing, Daniel Matlock got to be Columbus. And quite frankly, I think I could have done a better job. He probably doesn't even remember it. He probably isn't even talking about it this morning. So those are the two dates that I remember. I remember 1492. I do remember the play and the pilgrim suit that my mother made for me and meeting with all the darker students. All the darker students, of course, had to play the Indians, right? I'm just being honest here. I could not be an Indian. I was Irish. I couldn't be an Indian. So any little Hispanic or African-American child was the Indian, and all of us white kids were the other thing. And we thought it was the right thing to do, right? My 5th grade teacher was amazing. And I remember very specifically behind Daniel Matlock, taking the corn and sharing the corn with my brothers and sisters as Columbus stood and said, "This is the new world of white people." He didn't actually say that, but that's kind of what he was saying, right? So if you go now and look, so we have a little bit different understanding today, right? Which you probably already know. Guess what? Columbus didn't discover this place. The Vikings were here before him, and even before them were the indigenous people of different tribes with different names, with different ways of being. It was profound. The other thing, and I remember this from class because there were always the kids that got to be the water that was really not good, you know, the cardboard water. We learned that he had a rough journey with those 3 boats. Santa Maria, Clanamina, Pinta, whatever they were. And the waters were terrible, and he had an awful time, and it was awful. Guess what? According to his own diary, weather was great. No problem at all. Another thing that we've learned, that when Columbus was around, he was a very brave man because everyone believed the world was flat. Hundreds and hundreds of years before Columbus, it was determined that the earth was not flat. Another thing that happened was Columbus wanted to explore, to open trade, and open up a new world for all peoples to the West Indies. The truth about all of it, right, was he came in here and he said, "There's a lot of booty here." That's ship talk for the stuff. Oi, oi, oi. There's like gold, there's food, there are different things. And he said, "I am going to conquer this world." And then he took on some great roles that we never learned about, and they weren't great at all. He became one of the very first human traffickers. He took folks from here and he brought them back with him, and he put them into service to all kinds of people, including the church. That's what happened. By the way, he was an Italian. The reason we celebrate Columbus Day is because the Italians out on the East Coast said, "Wait a minute, the Irish get a big party. We need a big party too." So they claimed Columbus as their own, and we've been partying and parading ever since. But the truth is, he wasn't probably even Italian. He probably wasn't even Spanish. And guess what? Studies show he wasn't really even a Christian. He was probably a Jewish guy. Now, when you think back, how many of you had a similar upbringing where you shared in that story in a particular way? Yeah, me too. Here's a quote from a high school textbook in 1992, so I think we're getting somewhere. "Although Columbus made 3 more voyages to America, he never really knew he had discovered a new world. He died in obscurity, unappreciated and penniless. Yet, without his daring, American history would be very, very different. For in a sense, Columbus made it all possible. He wrote it down in his journals. I have come to believe this will be my mighty continent." 1992. Now, for those of us, isn't that funny? There are people here who are like, "Oh, that was kind of a long time ago." It really wasn't. It wasn't very long at all, no. So my question is, what really did Columbus make possible? As I noted, some pretty awful things. He did kidnap people. He kidnapped 10 to 25 on the first round and then popped it up to like 15,000 1,500 the next round. He did. And why? With the support of what? The church. Yeah. So here I am, and I got to tell you, I love the church. I got a pretty good gig here. I love what I do. I love to share the goodness of God in the world. So how do I put that in alignment with what else we know historically is true, right? What do we do? What do we do about this? So that's probably why I was having a hard time coming here today. Do you know that in 1493, the document of discovery was created? And it was created with the support of the church. We decided that Jesus needed to be in all of these lands. And Jesus needed to take hold of these lands. And we needed to be, everybody needed to be like us, because this was the best way to be. So we we conquered land after land after land. We took stuff. We abused people. And now we live in the history of whatever that was. And we do know how very complicated this is. It is very complicated because it goes back to Columbus. It goes back to slavery. It goes back, right now, to immigration. The truth is we are people who like their stuff, and we are a church that likes its stuff. And when we see stuff, we want stuff. Now, the thing about it is we're willing to work for stuff. We're willing to work hard for stuff. But the truth is one of the big 10 is you're not going to steal from anybody. You're not going to covet their land. You're not going to covet their cows. You're not going to covet that. The Big 10, they kind of left that behind when we conquered some different lands. So I have to tell you, this is complicated for me because I am honored to serve with a community of people who have committed themselves to make this world a better place through loving God, loving each other, and caring. But the very basis upon which we gather has some structural issues. It has some challenges. And I have to tell you, this past year, and I think the year before or 2 years before, when I've gone to conferences, we have taken time to apologize and to do litanies about this very topic. I went to one thing where we faced the north, the west, and we said prayers to the south and to the east and said, God, we're really sorry. We're really, really sorry. I've been to more than one meeting where that has been done. And today, we had the opportunity to do that. But I didn't. And I have to tell you why I didn't. Because there's something about that that seems a little hollow. Seems a little like we're trying to put a litany or an idea or religion on top of great pain and suffering. And we cannot do that with a bunch of words. We cannot do that necessarily with a litany or a prayer. We cannot do that simply by confessing. We have to do something like this together because, quite frankly, when I've done every one of those litanies, it has been essentially with people who look an awful lot like me, who attend churches an awful lot like me, and who live life like me. Do you know that in the state of Indiana, you have the opportunity to address this particular issue with people who are native to this place? Yes, it's true. The Potawatomi, I think I'm saying that right. That's what it is. Potawatomi, yeah. Which is exactly why I am very uncomfortable here today, right? Because we all want to honor. That's the same thing that Doran said. Oh, I'm not sure about this music. I'm not sure. Look, we're trying. We're trying. That's all I can say. And it may be trying for you, but we're trying. So the Potawatomi received a small portion of land after their removal from Indiana. So it is the recognition that, boy, we really kind of jacked this up, right? And so 166 acres were given back in 2016, a long, long time ago, way back in 2016. 166 acres of land trust in South Bend were given, and the tribe has successfully found a way to put housing units there and tribal government buildings to kind of assist with all of us to better understand in the community to take hold again. And there are some beautiful, if you go to the parks websites, there are some beautiful landscapes in which the state parks, which we very lovingly took over. And, but there are great stories. The state parks have done a great job of sharing the stories of these folks. So this is in South Bend, 166 acres. The other tribe that now has land in Indiana is the Miami. The tribe was given land to put a cultural extension office for their tribe because they're based in Oklahoma now. They're tribal members living in Indiana to allow them the opportunity to participate in gatherings, ceremonies, and education events. And this particular group is located in Fort Wayne. And if you have an interest, some work has been done through public radio interviews with folks from that community. And it again is very rich to hear the stories, but also very conflicting for me. I cannot fix this. It reminds me, this sermon I think is hard because it reminds me a lot of, remember the immigration sermon? The immigration sermon was, it's a problem. I don't know what we're gonna do about it, right? But I think the answer is the same for both experiences. And that is, we cannot do it in theory, we have to do it in person. We have to do it face to face. We have to have a willingness to talk to people who have been wronged. We have to have a willingness to be present with one another in a variety of different ways. I read this incredible story this past week that I want to share with you about the maple tree. And this is indigenous folklore. The maple tree was having a really rough time. The maple tree was itching and had some itches that needed to be scratched. So the maple tree called the otter and the beaver and all kinds of different animals to come and help. And those animals could only help to a certain extent down at the bottom, and that's not where the itching was. So the tree said, thank you. I'll have to figure something else out. Then the tree called the birds over, and the birds came, and the birds tried to help, but couldn't quite do it. But then the birds thought, we have part of our tribe that can help you. And they called the woodpeckers. And the woodpeckers come and scratch that itch. Yeah, the woodpeckers came, and the maple tree was able to get the itch scratched. I don't know what else to say. And by what? By drilling holes into the maple tree. Not only that, but the maple tree then discovered that it had this incredible thing called sap. Now, the woodpeckers and the birds and the other animals went away, but then there was a very harsh season with no water. And as each one came back, the tree was able to say, I can help. I have sap to help with your thirst. And the woodpeckers came back, and the animals came back, and yes, just like Columbus, they lived happily ever after. I think it's a beautiful story about how this world works, right? We all have different itches that need to be scratched. We all have different challenges that we're facing on a daily basis, and we need one another for it to work. And I believe that needing one another does come together but not with capitalism, not with the money we have, not with the whoever's building the best Google or whatever it may be. It comes in our ability to share in conversation. The tree talked to creation about its problems. We must have a willingness to talk to one another about the problems that we have. This past week is a sign that we have some problems in this world. We have to be willing to talk about the climate, no matter what you think about the climate, in order to address the problems that we have in the world. Mother Nature is speaking loudly and clearly. Why is it that we can't speak to one another? What I love about the Indigenous Peoples tradition and the Christian tradition is we have and believe in the power of creation. And it is a place where we can all meet. There is a psalm written by a psalmist in your bulletin today. And it talks about God visiting the earth and watering it and greatly enriching it. The river of God is full of water. You provide the people with grain, for so you have prepared it. You water its furrows abundantly, settling its ridges, softening it with showers, and blessing it with growth. You crown the year with your bounty. Your wagon tracks overflow with riches. The pastures of the wilderness overflow. The hills gird themselves with joy. The meadows clothe themselves with flocks. The valleys deck themselves with grain. They shout and sing together for joy. Something about this psalm, something about the prayer that Christina shared with us, something about reading of these great traditions reminds me that the answers we most likely need for moving forth can be found in our ability to connect with creation and the spirit that reigns for all of us. What I love about the Indigenous Peoples culture is that it's not some guy up in the sky with a long beard, but indeed the power of the Spirit in the world. And that Spirit takes on forms in a variety of different ways, including feminine ways, I might add. We too can live into that Spirit as the church, because we recognize the Spirit of God among the people of God. And it is that Spirit that binds us all together. So when you read about this day in today's culture, what they recommend that we do is we take time first to engage with the people who are indigenous to this part of the country. You can easily do that tomorrow at the Eiteljorg Museum, which is free and open to everybody to help support this topic. You also can Google, there's a lot out there, that you can learn about the people who were here, who call Indiana home before it was Indiana, like the Sycamore and the Miami and those guys too. There are a variety of different tribes that called Indiana home. Another thing you can do is just commit to sharing the tough conversations with one another. Just commit to have the conversations about the history that we were shared, that was shared with us. And we need to forgive ourselves for living into that history or whatever it may be and keep moving forward. Remember, we took on the word hope this year at the garden. And remember, hope is a cognitive process. So I have great hope today as we share in this meeting that indeed we can find our way forward, not focusing on our differences, but focusing on the conversation together and focusing on how we're called together to care for creation and to care for one another and to apologize for our behavior and to seek to live life to the fullest together, not apart. So, friends, that's my message to you today. We've all learned a lot of different things, but there is one thing that continues to grow, and that is love and hope. We must continue to share hope in this world in a variety of different ways. And when we do so, God will work in us and through us to transform this world with love. So there. Amen.
You're very gracious.
Now here you are, you're in full flower. You're flexible in all your power. You've got all the sunlight and the air that you need. They tried to bury us, but they didn't know we were seeds. Now here you stand hour after hour, strong as an oak, tall as a tower. The storm keeps raging, but you never pay no heed. They tried to bury us, but they didn't know we were seeds. Somehow, everything eventually dreams. Someday, somehow, everyone eventually dreams. Someday. Now see you shining strong and clear. No one can stop a good idea. Nobody like you. There's nobody just like you. I was a flower, I was an oak. I was provoked when I awoke. I started grazing for all the things that I need. They tried to bury us, but they didn't know we were seeds. They tried to bury us, but they didn't know we were seeds. Somehow, everything eventually clears. Someday, somehow, everyone eventually dreams. Someday, they knocked you down, erased your name. You stood your ground and wouldn't change. You found your place now, standing alongside the trees. They tried to bury us, but they didn't know we were seeds. You are a star and you are hope. Smoke signals in the air evoke from the darkest depths that our hearts can be free. They tried to bury us, but they didn't know we were seeds. They tried to bury us, but they didn't know we were seeds. Somehow, everything eventually dreams. Someday, somehow, everyone eventually dreams. Someday, somehow, everything eventually dreams. Someday, somehow, everyone eventually dreams. Someday.
We are gardeners from the west in Montana to the east in Delaware. We are gardeners, and we are called to not only be the seeds in the world, but to seek the seeds out that may have been overlooked. Spirit of the living God, may God fall afresh upon all of us. And may the love of God be yours today, tomorrow, and forevermore. We'll see you down in Together in 111. Go in peace. Amen.